Okay, guys, things are getting serious as we're getting close to the 1 year anniversary. It's only a few days away here of the Ukraine Russian war, and people are very concerned on what's going to happen here as the European Union just announced new Russia sanctions. And get this, you're not going to believe this. Ukrainian children, it's been announced that have been sent to Russian re education camps. And it's not just a few here. Yeah, more than 16,000 children have been forcibly moved to Russia, according to Ukrainian officials. And at least, according to the Conflict Observatory in partnership with Yale's University Humanitarian Research Lab, alleges that Russia has forced more than 6,000 of them into what they're calling, quote, re education camps. What does that remind you of? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. The report titled Russia's Systematic Program for the Re Education and Adoption of Ukraine's Children outline what it calls the Kremlin's systematic efforts to abduct children, prevent their return to Ukraine, and, quote, re educate them, and to become pro Russia. Now, remember here that Putin says that he wants to denazify Ukraine, but he's taking Ukrainian children and sending them to re education camps. You can tell me what that reminds you of in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts because I would love to hear. This is exactly what is going on right now. Yeah. And they're now sending 300 to 500,000 new troops into Ukraine as we speak. And this is, I mean, think about how many people, how many troops they are. And don't forget that a lot of them were forced against their will. They were drafted. They didn't choose to sign up to go into the army. They were literally drafted against their will and have basically have just been trained, had no prior military experience at all, and are now going in there and this is literally what's happening right now. And this is on the eve of the 1 year anniversary. And many people think that there's something really big planned for the 1 year anniversary here on February 24th, and that Russia is going to do who knows what. So I can't wait to read the comment section. Oh, yeah. And by the way, in case you're wondering, according to a recent study, the nuclear winter from a US Russia conflict or a US China conflict, a nuclear bomb, would wipe out 63% of the world's population. The war could reduce global calorie production by 90%. And here's why. Take a look at this. It's pretty startling. More than 5 billion people, roughly 63% of the world's current population, would die of famine in the aftermath of a full scale nuclear war between the United States and Russia and their allies, which really this would include China as well, because they have nuclear bombs, a new study has revealed. According to the researchers, the conflict would create widespread fires that could eject up to 165 million tons of soot into the Earth's atmosphere, leading to crop declines in the food exporting US and Russia that would send global calorie production plummeting by as much as 90%. The study, published in the Journal of Nature Food, is the latest in 4 decades of landmark research that has attempted to sketch out the threat of nuclear war. Of the world's approximately 12,705 nuclear warheads, Russia has 5,977 of them. The United States has 5,428 of them, according to the Stockholm International Peace Research latest reports. The country with the third most is China, which has 350. But remember what the damage of just one or two can do. We know this from World War II. India and Pakistan have 160 and 165, respectively. A full scale nuclear war would produce climate change that is unprecedented in human history, said author Alan Roebuck, a professor of climate science in Rutgers University. In a US Russian nuclear war, more people would die from famine in India and Pakistan alone than in foreign countries actually fighting the war. Yeah. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. So we need to find some way to bring the level of tensions between U.S., Russia, China, and North Korea down quite a few notches, and it seems like it's going up a few notches here recently. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Also, just yesterday, it looks like the cover up in the Ohio train derailment is getting worse as they had a meeting where the railroad was supposed to show up to meet with the townsfolk, and the rail firm did not show up. They pulled out of the meeting with residents. And well, this is really concerning because when you see some of the footage and what has happened, there's been thousands of fish that have died. You can see some of the um, symptoms that people are having here. I mean, look at this: 3,500 fish have died. There's been animals that have died. There's been people that are having massive, massive symptoms. People are scared to go to school. People are scared to go to work. People are scared to stay in their homes, and rightfully so. And would you want to stay there? But yet, here's what the governor has to say as they've literally burned off these chemicals and they're in the air. Here's what the governor, Mike DeWine, had to say. Take a listen here.
Crisis, we appreciate it. Are you confident that it's safe for the residents of East Palestine and the communities around there to return home?
Yes, we continue to test the air. We continue to test the water. And we've done that really since the beginning. And before we told them they could go back, we had readings that indicated the air was just pretty much what it was before, or was what it was before the train wreck even occurred. As far as the water, we continue to test the water at different stages as it goes out towards the Ohio River. We've told the residents, most people are on the village system. Those are deep wells. We think that they're very safe, but until we get the test back, we've told them out of an abundance of caution, they really ought to just drink bottled water. And we've got our first test back from one of the wells last night. The test was fine. We would expect today or tomorrow to get the other well tests back. And as soon as we get those back, we'll make that available to the public.
So if it were your family, Governor, you'd be okay sending everybody back home?
Yeah, look, I mean, we indicated that. We're going to continue to test the air. We're going to continue to test the water. But what that is indicating is that it is very, very safe. We're relying on the experts. The U.S. EPA has been in. The Ohio EPA has been in. Both the local health department, the state health department, they've been there from the beginning. We've been, as transparent as we can. We tell people exactly what we know. Yesterday, I did over an hour press conference. That was the third press conference I've done myself. And we've done other press conferences where we put that information out. And what I committed to people yesterday to do is, look, we're going to hold the railroad responsible. The railroad caused this. I called the CEO yesterday. I've talked to him a number of times. I said, look, there's people in Palestine who are concerned that you guys are going to leave before you get the total area cleaned up. And he assured me, he said, no, we're not going to leave. And so we're going to hold them to that.
Yeah, so the railroad says, no, they're not going to leave, but that's exactly what they did. They pulled out of the meeting with the residents just hours before the actual meeting was going to occur. they left. They didn't show up. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on this. And you know how this type of stuff goes, right? Next thing you know, the railroad will be filing bankruptcy or something, and who will be left high and dry? The residents. And this kind of reminds me of that movie Aaron Brockovich, if you've seen that with Julia Roberts. I've watched that movie a couple of times. Me and my wife kind of like that movie. Let me know if you've seen that. But it kind of reminds me of that movie. I mean, slightly different situations, but the problem is that we don't know. I mean, there's thousands of fish dying. They've had foxes dying, and you got to think about this. Yeah.
You know that there's an interview with her talking about this.
Oh, really? Well, let's find it here. In fact, my wife says there's an interview with the actual Aaron Brockovich. So here it is. Take a listen.
Migraine, I've been dizzy. I've had all my mucous membranes irritated. I haven't felt very well since then.
If the ground is poisoned, if the water's poisoned, it's not a farm anymore.
I think it's all contaminated from the train wreck. All the fish are dead.
Our lips and mouth started to burn. Our tongue started to swell up. It was like a stinging burn, and our eyes were watering, our eyes were burning, and we realized, we couldn't stay here.
What is your biggest concern?
That I'm going to get cancer and die.
People are scared and confused. Joining us now, Aaron Brockovich, consumer advocate, author of the Brockovich Report newsletter. She was instrumental in helping to sue utility giant PG&E for its contamination of the drinking water in a California town in the 90s. The story is the subject of a film. We're so glad to get to talk to you. Rick Stengel is still with us. Tell me how this got on your radar and how, with your expertise, you understand the situation to be unfolding and what is like a horror movie in real time for these people.
It does feel that way. Well, hi, Nicole, and I thank you for having me on. And how I got involved in this situation is how I get involved in so many environmental disasters throughout the country. Whenever there's a water contamination or an environmental issue, it kind of goes along with Aaron Brockovich, the movie, so people will email me. So this train derailment happened February 3rd, as early as Friday, on the 4th. In the morning, I started getting emails from the community that, what was going on, their concerns, the misinformation they weren't getting. And here we are 12 days in, and we're still not getting the information. This community is getting more and more angry, more and more concerned, more and more fearful. And the frustration just got worse yesterday because we're creating such a distrust with this community and believing in what they're hearing. After everything, and even in the absence of enough testing, in my opinion, to even deem that it was safe for them to go home, they're now told we have a water issue and to drink bottled water. So I'm generally involved because the community will reach out to me when these situations happen.
Aaron, you've got some very practical advice for people in the community. Will you talk about that?
What frustrates me the most, and listening to some of those people from East Palestine before I came on, just almost gets my heart racing and gets me very upset, because more often than not, we aren't listening to or paying attention to the very people that we should be. Those that were in harm's way, those that are living in it, breathing in it, experiencing it, and we're not learning or listening from them. Rather, the narrative will come from what an agency is telling them or who the defendant, in this case, Norfolk Railroad, and the testing that they're doing. And they want to believe in that, but their symptoms continue and they are worried. Their animals are dying. All of us are watching this unfold. What I want to say to them is you have got to use your best common senses. I can't share enough with you, Nicole, working across this country in these issues, especially with their moms. They know it's instinctual. I need them to stay with that because at this point, we're not getting the answers that we need. They need to stay strong as a community. They need to ask questions. They need to demand answers, and they need to rely on that instinct. If they don't feel safe, get out. If they don't feel safe coming home yet, don't go home. Heed the issues about drinking bottled water. And this is really important for people on their own private wells because they're going to have to do their own testing. So the most important thing that they can do, and I see them do it all the time, often, when they band together, when they stay as a community, they use that common sense, they listen to those instincts, they can protect themselves, even though there's an absence of data at this point.
Yeah. Some of the questions I would be asking is how much of this testing is being conducted by the railroad, or does the railroad have influence on? That's what I would be concerned about. The other thing is I would want the railroad to buy my property back, and I would move if I was by that city. So I wouldn't want to live there at all. I would never be able to trust the air, the water, or any. I just would have too many concerns. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this, but I would be saying the railroad has to buy my property back. And I would want a healthy sum for, I would want over above market value for all the problems and concerns. And I would want to, and the problem is how many areas is this going to contaminate around that? I mean, how can you live there for years and years and years going forward and not be concerned? And you got to think how many other similar problems like this, not necessarily train wrecks, but other chemical issues like this happen. I talked about this in the other previous video where there was a chemical spill in Arizona. How many problems like this happen all the time and then we don't even know about? Oh, something happened and, it's just a blip on the news and then who knows, right? So let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day, and I'll keep you up to date here. Here's some videos that you can watch next. Here's a really important video of what just happened between Russia and the United States. The Air Force just had to be called out for it. It's a really good video. And here's a video of what Senator Bernie Sanders just announced, a brand new bill for Social Security. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.